The Cursed Book. More than 60 forbidden stories that YouTube wouldn't let the channel publish. Link in the comments. Buy it now. The wind howled through the desolate streets as the hospital loomed in the distance, its shadowy form barely visible beneath the cloak of night. Its forbidding presence seemed to pulse with an otherworldly energy, an invisible dread that clung to the very air. The sign at the entrance, weathered and cracked, bore the words "Read the rules" before entering in faded, blood-red letters. For those who dared to heed the warning, a grim discovery awaited. As you approach the entrance, a strange chill settled over you, intensifying with each step. The rules were displayed on a yellowed parchment, yellowed and brittle as though it had been there for decades, if not centuries. The first rule was simple enough: no entering after dusk. Yet, as you squinted at the letters, they seemed to writhe and shift, their meaning twisting into something more sinister. The second rule was even more unsettling: do not make eye contact with the staff. It was followed by a crude drawing of a faceless figure with hollow, vacant eyes. An uneasy shiver ran down your spine as you imagined what sort of entity could require such a caution. The staff inside the hospital were always known to have a disturbingly calm demeanor, their eyes void of emotion. The thought of encountering them while adhering to this rule was enough to make your pulse quicken. Third on the list was a chilling directive: whispers are not permitted. The parchment hinted at a history of unspoken horrors, a place where secrets could take on lives of their own. The notion of silence being enforced so strictly suggested that the air itself might be charged with unseen threats, ready to manifest if disturbed by the slightest sound. As you moved down the list, a particularly disquieting rule caught your eye: never follow the red lights. The instruction was accompanied by an ominous illustration of a maze with a single red light glowing ominously in its center. You couldn't help but wonder what could be hiding in the shadows, waiting for the unwary traveler to follow the deceptive glow. Further down, the parchment cautioned no flash photography. It was not just a precaution, but a command, almost as if the hospital feared the light could unveil something that should remain hidden. You could feel the oppressive weight of the darkness, a palpable entity that seemed to thrive on obscurity. Leave all personal belongings behind, the next rule stated. The implication was that the hospital did not want anything to tether you to the outside world. The notion of surrendering your identity before stepping inside filled you with a sense of foreboding, as though your very essence would be stripped away. Another rule, scrawled hastily in the corner, warned: never enter the basement. The basement was referred to with a foreboding sense of dread, suggesting that something unspeakable resided beneath the hospital's pristine surface. The thought of a hidden realm, filled with nightmares beyond imagination, was almost too much to bear. The list continued with the unsettling instruction: avoid the mirror rooms. This rule was accompanied by a sketch of a long hallway lined with mirrors, reflecting a distorted reality. The concept of encountering endless reflections of yourself, twisting and contorting into grotesque forms, was horrifying enough to make you question what truly lay beyond those walls. The next rule read: do not touch the walls. It was a seemingly innocuous directive, yet the way it was written suggested a deeper, more sinister meaning. The walls might be conduits for something malevolent, absorbing and emanating an energy that should never be disturbed. Another ominous instruction advised: Never try to leave through the same entrance. The hospital's twisted design seemed to conspire against any attempts to escape, as if it thrived on ensnaring those who tried to defy its labyrinthine grip. The mere thought of being trapped in a never-ending cycle of entry and re-entry filled you with a deep, primal terror. The rules seemed to go on endlessly, each more disturbing than the last. Speak only in whispers, one read. It was as though the hospital's walls absorbed sound, turning any attempt at conversation into a cacophony of hushed, paranoid murmurs. The idea of having your voice swallowed by the oppressive silence was almost unbearable. Another rule, written in an erratic scrawl, said, "Never enter the restricted wards." These wards were marked with symbols that seemed to writhe and pulse on the page, hinting at unspeakable horrors locked away from the world. The sense of forbidden knowledge was almost too much to bear. The final rule, etched with a sense of finality, read, "Trust no one." It was a stark, chilling reminder that within the confines of the hospital, deception and malevolence lurked behind every corner. The very fabric of trust was an illusion, shattered by the horrors that lay in wait. As you absorbed the chilling messages of the rules, a cold sweat broke out on your brow. The air seemed to thicken, and the night around you grew heavier. The warnings on the parchment were more than just guidelines. They were a premonition of the darkness that awaited within. The hospital stood as a monolithic testament to fear, and as you read the last rule, you knew that entering it was not just a matter of caution, but a descent into the heart of a nightmare that defied comprehension. This text encapsulates a chilling atmosphere and a sense of dread, perfect for a horror-themed scenario. Until next time, thank you